What's up, YouTube? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. So, I know this is not the Joe Budden interview. I just made a kind of an audible real quick as I was setting up for my recording today because I lost a day from being sick. I still thought everything was going to be cool, but I have to have a shorter day on Friday now because my wife's still more sick than I am. So I'm just going to take her to a doctor just to make sure everything's okay. So we have an appointment for Friday that I have to take her for. So now that recording session is cut short. And for that reason, this interview is 39 minutes. The Joe Budden part 3 interview is like an hour and 15. So that's like a 35 minute, sorry, time difference. And for that reason, I'm going to do this one first. I apologize for the switch. I know you guys were hoping for the Budden one, but I promise, I will do the Budden one next week to make it up to you guys. But we'll do this one because I didn't want to leave you with nothing from Nicki this week. So Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2 interview, Apple Music. This is with Ebro. Hopefully this works on YouTube. Otherwise, you may be watching this for free on my Patreon. Who knows? Here we go.
You've made some pop records in the past.
Oh my gosh, what is it with this word? Do you tell men that they've made pop records?
Absolutely.
Who? What's the last man you've told you've made pop records?
Drake.
When?
Don't play with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ebro Show, and we are so honored to have a very, very special friend of mine, somebody I consider a friend in the game. I don't get to see her a lot because she's living her life and being amazing. Her name is Nicki Minaj.
How are you, Ibrahim?
We haven't sat down in years.
She used his full name.
But it's been 5 years since the last album.
That's right.
But so much great things have happened for you in that 5 years, outside of music. And I want to try to hear from you on those things, if possible. A lot of that you gave us in the album, too. You let us in.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to start there. Because the way the album starts, Pink Friday 2, you start with a very emotional song. I feel like I heard you speaking to your son in that song and really sharing some things that you want him to absorb later on. Can you give us more insight on that?
No, you know what? Okay. The first verse, and you're talking about Are You Gone Already, the first one, right?
First right.
The first verse is me speaking to my father. My father just passed. So right after I had the
So I didn't catch that. I was trying to piece it together as I was listening to it, but you guys commented and filled me in on that. And so when I've listened to that song after the fact, it gets me much more emotional, kind of understanding some of the context there. Like that hit pretty hard.
First right.
The first verse is me speaking to my father. My father just passed. So right after I had the baby, and it was during Corona, and nobody knew what was going on. And so I didn't want to let nannies in my home to be leaving, and I didn't want to let anyone living in my home. And, you know, because with the baby, it was like, we didn't know what was happening. At that time, we had to protect the baby from everything and everyone. So one day, I was rocking the baby in the rocking chair in his room. And I do not normally even have the phone on me when I'm rocking him. Because at that time, I was mad strict, like, oh, that bass is going to get in my child. Don't put the phone on my child. Like, I was. But anyway, that day.
Yo, we can relate. New parents, we can relate, right? In the beginning, you're scared. You don't know anything. You're scared that everything's going to do something negative to your baby. I can relate.
As I'm rocking him, the phone rings. I look down, see my phone. I see it's my father. I normally would not have picked up. I promise you. I would have said, okay, because I don't like to be on the phone with the baby there, and I'm putting him to sleep. I would have called him back. But anyway, something said, pick up the phone. I picked up. He was very happy, and he was like, baby, I could come on Monday, because he had been waiting to be able to come to Cali to help me. And I kept on saying, come on out, like, just, you know, like, whatever. So he wasn't really happy. But I knew that when he came to be with us, we were going to be happy. Like, he is an amazing, great Trinidadian chef and just a great person. Like, one of those party people, like, whatever, lives up the whole house. So anyway, that was Friday. He said he wanted to come on Monday. And we were so happy. I was like, yes, we were going to get help. And then we went to bed. And sometime late, while we were all asleep, the phone rang. And it was my mother telling me that my father was in an accident and that she didn't know what was going to happen and she would call me back. And then everything started spinning, like literally, because now also I just had my baby. So I'm already, hypersensitive, with everything. So to get that call, and it's the exact replica of a call, no lie. And I'm not going to get too into that either. I had like about 4 or 5 dreams about it, but it was the exact replica of one particular dream I had about this. But the person was saying, such and such, your mom, we're going to call you back and let you know how it went. But this happened, this call now is with my father. And I'm like, wait a minute, I dreamt this. But I remembered in the dream, I didn't get the call back. I didn't remember how it ended. So I opened the album with saying, you never got to meet Papa. He's sweet proper. He keep mama on my toes. So I call my son Papa Bear. Right. So I'm telling my father, you never got to meet Papa. And then I begin to explain the time from my mother first calling me, telling me he was in an accident, to her calling me, telling me that he didn't make it. So I'm like, the waiting, the pacing, the raven, all of this stuff.
Yo, that makes it hit so much harder. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry. That's got to be so hard. And like, God, man, it's crushing my soul. Like if my parents didn't get to meet my kid, like, oh man, that's crushing me.
And then at the end, I'm like, I just believed you to awaken a memory in the making. Call me, won't you call me, won't you? Are you gone already? Because I couldn't believe so fast from accident gone.
And y'all was just on the phone.
A few hours earlier, he was the happiest that I had heard him in a long time. So I'm now starting the second verse saying, Dear Onika, don't stress, you're blessed. Today is 12/3/23, which is the actual date I wrote that second verse because I was too emotional to even listen to the freaking first verse to write it. So it sat for months.
Wow.
And then when I start saying, set me free, I'm talking as the inner child. But the last line is what confused a lot of people because I said, you've already made your peace with me. One day you have to forgive mommy, but she knows you know too much already. No.
That's where I thought maybe she was talking about her kid too.
I'm talking about my own mother. So the inner child is like, don't come over here telling me, well, we good. We made a peace.
Right.
But you still have to forgive mommy. And then I tell her, but she knows, you know too much already. Because I remember as a kid, I knew way too much. I saw way too much. And then what happens is, I don't know what your relationship is like with your parents, Ebro. But a lot of times what happens is that we grow up in a situation where our parents don't take accountability and they don't realize that that's not okay. Because you can't actually have a healthy relationship without accountability. There's no relationship on earth that works without accountability.
That's right.
So that's what that's about.
I love it.
Thank you.
Would you?
This is why, now I see why the people who were recommending this one recommended this one. And maybe the Bud one had some reveals and stuff like this as well, which I'll find out next week. But I love this because as a fan, and you know, not a lot of you have kind of considered me a barb or an honorary barb or whatever you might refer to me as. But, you know, obviously I don't have as in-depth the knowledge that some of you have of her life and everything. So you guys probably picked up on things that I didn't. But for someone like me, a fan like me, this elevates the music that much further. And that song means so much more to me now. I feel this connection with her because of what she's just kind of shared, and that's beautiful.
You say that's one of your more personal, emotional records that you've ever made?
Yes.
How scary was that for you to share with us?
So scary. I think a lot, to be honest, I always feel like I have to give my fans, my core fans, an update when I come back out with an album. And I think the last two took a lot longer because of the events that took place between the albums. And every time I'm about to put out an album, I have to reconcile in my head the gain, you know, the pros and the cons of sharing this, and why am I sharing this, and how is it going to make me feel? Am I going to be able to listen to this back for the rest of my life, you know? But I always feel I have to start somehow by telling them what has been going on so that they have a perspective, because they don't. A lot of times they're just assuming what they think. I just sit in the house all day and just like have, I don't know, maids and nannies and butlers and shit. You understand? Most people think that
she's not putting out an album because she wants to make us wait. I see that perspective that she's kind of going for right now, because I've seen some of the comments. People can be a little bit, you know, not understanding. And it's hard. It's hard. It's from like loving the artist so much that you don't want to go that much time without something from them. But they're human, and I love this part because she's kind of peeling that back and saying, I'm going through stuff. It's not just because I don't want to do it.
Maids and nannies and butlers and shit. You understand? Most people think that. They don't think of me as a human being.
Facts.
And so with my fans, because I have a very different relationship with them and they really do know me, I give them an update. Right. And then they get to be like, oh, okay, well, they can put some things together.
You have, I mean, one of the most active, notorious, engaged fan bases in the history of fandom, probably, right?
I think notorious can be accurate.
Right? But as you just articulated, you guys have a deep relationship. You care for them. They care for you. You also have always talked to me about caring for hip hop, right? Like you care to be dope. You care to take care of hip hop. You care to contribute to this culture that we've all grown up with and loved so much and provided us jobs,
exactly.
And all type
put food
of shit.
on the table for our
all
children.
That shit,
yes.
Right? And you fought to be dope, right? As well as, like you said, expand your brand beyond just being a rapper, but being an icon and being seen in fashion and being all of the things. Is this a conscious effort, or is this just? Are we always just getting Nicki? Like, is this work, or is this just?
It's Nick. You just get Nicki when you hear the music. The other stuff is work, and some of it is play. I mean, let's face it. This is my fucking job. I have to have some sort of fun. Like, if it means, you know, making fun of these hoes and like, why the fuck not?
Reminding bitches they're your sons.
Yes, every chance I have.
Facts. And I love her for it.
Bitches, they're your sons.
Yes, every chance I have. So, I mean, the thing is, I realized, though, it's like a movie. They've made me the bad guy. So I've welcomed the challenge. You know why?
Like you said, everybody need a bad guy.
It's because I know I can accept that challenge. None of them can. None of them would be able to.
That's hard. That's one of the hardest things. Oh, wow. That's dope. That might be my favorite kind of like badass interview moment at the moment. That's dope.
So they've made me the bad guy in this movie that we're in.
But you know you're loved, right? Even if you're the bad, you know you're appreciated and loved. Do you know that?
By my fans, absolutely, yeah.
But just by hip hop in general, do you think that?
I don't know. I don't know.
And I understand that. She gets disrespected a lot. I mean, I was a part of that a year ago. I would like to say that I've tried to be open-minded and been very fortunate that I approached it with an open mind and have been proven otherwise and have become a fan. Thanks to you guys, obviously. But, you know, some of you have been here long enough to remember my first reaction. And, you know, I completely understand why she would say that.
I mean, I don't know.
I have never met a person has fixed their lips to say Nicki's not done.
Okay.
So like that narrative, like I've never, like people might be like, I don't personally listen to her albums, but they know skill-wise. And
I think I always knew she was skilled. but I think not to the point that I know now.
And is that for you as someone who came up in this game and fought to have respect right next to the dudes, right? The only woman that's ever been on a record with Hov and Ye and M and fucking carried, right? That's what matters to you. I think that's what
Talking about the monster verse.
What matters, has always mattered to you.
Always.
The most.
Always has. Always has mattered to me that whether you knew how I look, whether you knew where I was from, whether you knew if I was a male, female, whatever, all that mattered to me was that are they liking my raps? And somewhere along the line that shifted. And it's everyone's fault. As a whole, as our culture, like, why would it's insane to go backwards. Mm-hmm. And I'm keeping it 1,000. Like, because when I think about the people who inspired me, I can still pull from them right now. That's why Biggie, rest in peace, he seems to always make his way on my projects, and I didn't even realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank God.
Dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. And I love that. I love that she did that homage to him on the album, but the fact that he called her fan base notorious, and in that actual song that she copped the flow from, he says, label us notorious. Yeah.
To always make his way on my projects, and I didn't even realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank God I had those kinds of people that right now I can still pull inspiration from them when I don't have anything to pull from. Whether it's Biggie, whether it's Jay, whether it's Foxy, whether it's Wayne, whether it's Lauryn Hill, because they were so great that I don't care about any of Biggie Smalls' videos or Lauryn Hill's videos. I care about the music. When I was riding on the train to school, I had my CD player and my headphones. I didn't give a shit about what any of them looked like. And it's just, it kind of has become a little, whatever. But
the game's changed.
It's changed. And you know what?
She's basically trying to say it's so much about appearances now. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with change. There's nothing wrong with change. As long as, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, nobody has to agree with it. It's one opinion. I think as long as people who are supposed to keep shit real, then the circle of life keeps going. But what happened was, somewhere along the line, motherfuckers stopped doing that. Hyping up whackness, hyping up weakness, hyping up whack shit, male and female. And that's what happened. And then when I speak on it, I look like, no. Y'all just don't want to hear the truth because y'all know y'all don't really belong.
I feel that. I'm sure. Let me put it this way. Doing this channel, doing these reactions, there is always an inherited pressure to not piss off the fan base. However, sometimes we have to be brave and we have to try to be honest. And then that doesn't mean that like I shit on stuff. It just means that I'm always going to try to find a positive in something. I'm always going to try to find something dope that any artist I react to is doing, but I will also be honest whether I like it or not. And I think that part is really important. And I think that's a little bit of what she's touching on here.
Just don't want to hear the truth because y'all know y'all don't really belong.
Damn, shots fired.
A rapper that belong rises to the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was having so much writer's block and dealing with, being a mom and losing my father and losing a couple other people that were really close to me. But when Drake sent me Seeing Green, even though I went down in my studio 3 different times, I got it done. I pushed myself to be better. I was mad at myself for being, like, I'm like, am I late? Like, what is wrong? Like, what's happening? But I know one thing. I knew I was going to send him back a motherfucking verse he was going to motherfucking love.
That is to use the word notorious again. That is a notorious reaction on my channel. But listen, this is real life. I'm never gonna go back and remove something because I don't want to. I feel embarrassed about it. Like that's the place that I was in 1 year ago, right? And I'm very fortunate to say that I think I've grown out of that place. I have listened to Seeing Green many times since then, and yeah, she ate. I mean,
That's what it is. Sacrifice too. About like it's your passion. The fucking best basketball player in the world, the best boxer in the world, they sacrifice. Why? Because they want to be the best.
True.
So why is it in music? There's no trade anymore.
Well, it's always like this world we exist in. You know, I've dealt with it for 30 years in this game where it's like, oh, that's what the people are saying they like now? All right. So, boom. You play it for them.
Mm-hmm.
You're always constantly fighting like, yo, here's that real, though. Y'all need to love this real. Here
Really?
go this real.
Really?
Here go this real.
Really?
Yeah.
You personally be fighting for this real? The real?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
oh, is she calling him out a little bit? Okay.
Because I know you are a fan of, rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? So.
I am a fan of rap, but I'm also a fan of, great songs in general.
Oh, yeah, no. I ain't going to. No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's definitely people who are not great rappers. They can land on a good song.
And ain't nothing wrong with that.
They can land on a good song.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I want to make that very, very clear. Making a song is a very difficult thing to do consistently, and making hits consistently, that's a very difficult thing to do. So I would never downplay that.
Well, and your ability to do all of it is why I think this album, and if people haven't got to it yet in their own brain, I think they're there. That you are, hands down, the most consistent woman we've ever seen in rap. And you've taken it farther and been delivered. This album, I'm serious. We just watched Beyonce work that Renaissance album for 1.5 years. That joint was out. Then she went on tour, was still on tour. It was 1 year old. Just now put out the movie we 18 months from, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what this Pink Friday 2 is.
Thank you.
This is that level.
Thank you.
I do think that she kind of does a very good job of having the full package. That's something that's going to be very difficult to argue against.
But on the song, making songs and still barring it up on the songs.
Yeah.
How do you, beyond just pushing yourself, is it all you all the time? Because I've seen you work where it's just beat and you're locked in at that laptop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to use a laptop. Wow.
Right? For days on end trying to get it right. Is that still the mode of operation where it's just you and that laptop? Or you?
I don't use the laptop no more. And I stopped, well, I don't think I used to do this at that time when I was with the laptop. I started doing more just laying a reference.
Got it.
To get the melody and my voice and all that other stuff down first, because I have a lot of different things.
Voice changes, inflections, like where you want to put certain shit.
Right. So I started doing that first now. So mostly it's me and my engineer, Juice. He's been my engineer. He actually he engineered Super Bass because he was working with Esther Dean at the time. And then like 1 year or 2 later, he became my engineer. He's been my engineer since. He's amazing. I love him. But it's usually just me and him in the studio. Well, do you know the person Tate Cobain on the song with Lil Wayne, R&B? Yeah. He's signed to my label. And he's
super talented.
Very, very talented. And in fact, he brought that song to me. So when that song came, that hook was already on it.
You're talking about R&B?
Yes. He had a hook and a verse one.
By the way, again, I should probably revisit my reaction to Pink Friday 2 and kind of read through the newer comments. But still to this day is actually a song I super enjoy on the album is R&B.
And I'm like, oh, I love this. There have been 2 key people, I think, new to this album that I haven't worked with like that before. And Tate is the person that also, he sent me Red Ruby.
Got it.
Oh.
However, listen to when the magic really shifted. Is when I got back to the drawing board of just getting the beat. I don't want to hear your chorus. I don't want to hear you rapping on anything you send me. In fact, a couple years ago, I stopped even listening to things that people would send me with them rapping on it. Because I'm like, are you auditioning for a feature, or are you sending something for my album, a beat, a hook? You understand?
Right.
And then they would be paying so much attention to their rap, there would be no hook, so there would be no song.
Right.
So I had to explain to certain people that would want to work with me, like, hook, where's the hook? Okay, bye. But what I went back to is just going back to the beat and making up whatever I wanted to make up.
Right.
On Pink Friday, I always say this. On Pink Friday, I made up Did It On Him hook. I made up Moment for Life hook. I was getting the beats and just vibing out and deciding what I want the song to be about. One more thing. ATL Jacob, at the last couple months, when I thought my album was about to be like done, walks into the studio one day, and it changed every fucking thing.
Because he gave you Fuck the Club Up.
Him coming to the studio and me being able to hear these amazing musical beats with these drums, it tapped me back into me, where I was getting those beats and just making up. I wish that I could have this moment for life. It wasn't like, I'm trying to make a hit. Oh, can somebody help send me a hit? Can somebody send me this? No.
Just come with that fire.
And it's really cool of her to kind of open up about that even someone at her level got caught up in that process. I don't know. I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool to kind of get the curtain pulled back on that aspect of things too.
It's just coming from my heart.
Right. So you got Drake on your album. There was like talk that you were supposed to be on For All the Dogs.
Needle.
And then people were disappointed. What's the...
That song's really grown on me as well. I like that.
What was supposed to happen versus, or was just all that just internet shit?
Well, he told the fans at his tour that I was gonna be on his album.
Right.
And actually, the song he was talking about was Needle.
Got it.
But he ended up feeling like sonically, it didn't match For All the Dogs, and I, from day one, felt like it matched Pink Friday too.
Let me get that, bro.
But even before that, so long ago, like I remember joking with Juice, and I think D-Biggs, my homeboys, I was like, yo, maybe, you know what? You never know. Maybe something happens and it'll get to be on my album. And this was probably almost a year ago. I first heard that song in Trinidad, when I was in Trinidad for Carnival. So that was in February. And as soon as I heard it, like I played it like Glam. We were there doing everything, so they heard it too.
It's very
Everybody
catchy.
loved it, and I wanted it for my album.
Yeah.
So it was
very
just
catchy.
God's timing. He said, he asked me, did I want it for my album? And I was like, absolutely. So
That's
the
dope.
fans were mad, thinking that.
I think they just wanted you. That's what it is.
Oh,
They,
okay.
I think it was more along the lines of like, Where's our girl
Because he
at?
didn't tell them, that there was a change.
Yeah, I mean, Drake doesn't always communicate stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't either. But yeah, I mean, you know what? It worked out for the best. He did also send me another song, but I wanted our next song to be just Dricky, me and him. And that is what Needle is. And it just makes, like, Needle is just the perfect Drake and Nicki song.
no, it's
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
It's a bop, for sure.
Yeah, and
ev-
even Drake's part, which I initially was like, I felt a little unsure about. Over time, has really grown on me. It's a very enjoyable song to listen to.
everybody's going crazy. People, now, the way, what's the line you say? Another year, another Vince Lombardi.
Lombardi.
I was like, oh, she cooking.
Yeah.
And the way you dance on that track, and shout to all the Jersey kids is like, yo, Jersey Club, they open, they are super open. I would love to hear from you about this tour,
Okay.
right? Because you haven't been out on tour in
A while, a long time. Over 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 5 years.
And this is worldwide. I mean, you've given us, I think, domestic dates so far, right?
Domestic and Europe.
There's some Europe in there.
Yeah, some Europe in there so far.
Anything for South America, Australia, Japan?
Oh, we always end up going to Australia. Normally end up going to Japan as well. Well, I went to Japan my first go around. I loved Japan.
Japan's
like, oh my
incredible.
God.
I want to go to Japan so bad. Japan is at the top of my must visit places. Everyone I go to says this about it. It says it's amazing. I've seen all the pictures. I've seen all the videos. One of my favorite artists, The Weeknd, went through his mega Japan phase. I got into really into Japan because of that as well. I want to go to Japan so bad.
But yes, we would like this time to expand. But I do want to definitely do South America because they always hitting me up.
And you
I was
got,
gonna
you
say-
got some big Latin records too.
The Karol G song was huge.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Karol G, yes.
Huge.
Working with J. Cole.
Yes.
You guys have, is this the
Such a good
Second.
song.
First time.
first? No, it's first.
Yes.
How did that come together? I'd love to hear that story.
Well, let me calm down. Okay, so as soon as I heard the beats,
And remember, I said this when I read the title of the track. I thought it was going to go in a different direction, like be more aggressive, and it went. They took it somewhere else. It was very themed, very story based. I 100% am for it. I thought it was awesome.
towards, like I said, the end of the album when ATL Jacob was bringing in these things, and I was kind of like just making up the hooks and stuff from scratch. And so it started getting more personal then. And I had this very personal verse on there. We thought about him. See, J. Cole is somebody that my fans have been asking me to work with for 10 years. And, you know, he's, he and I think, are both probably antisocial. So, you know, the chances of running into either one of us are slim. And so we just never had like a communication anyway. So, but this time, because he had been active, he just started coming out. Like I could tell, oh, he in work mode. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of features right now.
Yeah, and doing
And he's been, he's been on a roll. I mean, the features that he's done, like the verses he's dropped, bro is on another level right now.
just, you know, really shining and having this glow. And I was like, you know what? Let's hit him up and see. And
Good call.
he came to the studio in Malibu.
Oh,
And
nice.
I said, I want to play your song on one condition. And he said, what? I said, you have to listen in the headphones first before the big speakers. And he said, okay. I put my headphones, I gave it to him, and he was just like bopping. Like, you know, I could tell he was feeling it. And he was like, this is really personal. I almost feel like I shouldn't be hearing it. And I said, oh, I understand. It's okay. He was like, no, that's dope. Like, I love that. And I was like, oh, okay. In my head, I was like, oh my God, yikes. But I was very busy, and he was very busy. And he was saying that he was about to be traveling, and I was saying I have to turn in this album. So I didn't think we were gonna have a lot of time to talk or to vibe. So he had said, you know what, if I'm feeling it, I'll do it as soon as I get there. I'll do it on the spot. So he was like, you know what, let me take it with me. So I figured that meant that he wasn't feeling it and he wasn't gonna do it. So I was just like, okay. And then 2 days later, I was like, what the hell? Because I felt like it was I had sat down on the couch with a therapist, and then they put everything in the song, and I kind of felt like a little bit violated, like, boy. But you know,
But it works.
art, beautiful,
It works. It's fire.
so dope.
Yeah, because the perspective switch, and he just did it so well. And again, this interview is dope because that elevates the song even further. The fact that he drew inspiration from what they maybe talked about, what she shared about her verse, what she's like, that makes it that much cooler. That's so dope.
So dope, and I'm so appreciative of him, and also his aura, aura.
Mad positive, right? Light,
So,
shining light.
oh, so good. So good. Like, leaves back a good aura. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's dope. And he never struck me as a person that I would ever have like a conversation with, far less a whole song with that I love on my album. But here we are. After I played him that song, I played him Fuck the Club Up. I was like, yo, I don't like playing my music, but I'll let you hear another song, right? So I played him that. And when that second verse came in, his reaction is why that song is so high. Because Drake had originally loved that song. While he was working on his album, he was thinking about, like, you know, if that could fit for his album as well. Because I sent it to him when I did it, because I loved the beat. But I was like, I wasn't sure about the chorus. So then when J. Cole was listening to it, and he was like bopping, and then the high heels on, like when that dude saying Gabbana and that shit dropped, if you would have seen him, like, it was the most beautiful, like, it was the dopest fucking thing, because he was just like, and then he looked at me like, and he said, I've never heard anything like that before. I've never heard that before.
That's so cool.
When you think about it, what haven't you heard before? Like, it's simple words, but what struck me as so dope was that he couldn't articulate. He was just like, I never heard that before. Like, I never, like.
That's so cool. And it's her swagger and her attitude that makes it. Like she just said, the words were simple, but it was the energy and attitude and the delivery that she brought to it. I love that story, man. That's so cool.
Articulate. He was just like, I never heard that before. Like, I ain't never, like, but that's what made me go, oh, this is something that I should just leave the fuck alone. And you know what I said to him? I said, yeah, I like this song. I know I bodied the verse, and I know the beat is hard and fuck, and you know, da-da-da. And he was like, yeah, you know. I was like, but I don't like the chorus. I was like, because, you know, like, you wouldn't be able to play it on radio. He was like, who cares? Right. He was like, man, fuck the radio.
Very J. Cole.
And I was like, you're right.
Yeah, Cole world.
Fuck the radio.
That's how all the dope shit is made.
Yes. And then do I mean, why the fuck this is not something I'm putting out to be as a single. This is something as a part of a body of work, and I didn't even want to put out singles. I purposely don't have videos out because I want y'all to listen to the music.
Nicki, you I obviously have been through a lot that we've witnessed in the game, right? And now that you are top of the food chain in the game, there's this critique of Nicki that's like, how come she's always picking on people? How come she don't just embrace everyone? How come she's always in some shit?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. Ebro.
Yes.
If you go there, I'm gonna go there. So I'm not in the mood.
Well, no, what's your response to those people who have that critique?
Where are they? Are they in here?
No, they're on the internet.
Well, then let's
These are
talk.
on internet.
Call them and let's talk. I'll talk to them personally. I don't talk to the internet. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Let's go. I like it.
Now, you've made some pop records in the past.
Oh my gosh, what is it with this word? Do you tell men that they've made pop records?
Absolutely.
Who? What's the last man you've told you've made pop records?
Drake.
When?
Don't play with me. You know, I'll be honest. This record is phenomenal. Some records are meant to be mainstream and pop.
Yes, okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love that song, Cowgirl. Featuring Lourdes.
Who's Lourdes? I'm not familiar.
Lourdes is another dope addition to the Heavy on It family.
So this label is brolic.
Oh, we heavy on it. Very heavy on it. Everywhere we heavy on it.
Barbie Dangerous, you do something that I really want people to study. Yes, you come in with the big flow.
Yeah.
Cool. But then you add a different pocket and a different cadence while still... So
yeah, I
think
like that.
Is something that I don't think a lot of rappers really study out here in the game. They might study like, you know, some auto tune in or, you know, some punchline bars, but they don't study the percussive kind of pockets. Like you almost rap like you're an instrument as well. And then you change inflections and you don't stay in one space too long because you understand that people might get bored with that. So you're switching it up because you can carry that through a song and keep people tuned in as you understand that. Was that something you picked up? Was that a gem that was given to you in the recording process somewhere along the lines?
I think the other thing people forget about me a lot is I am a trained actress. So that is what I believed I would be doing. My acting obviously carries over into any and everything I do, the training. You know what I'm saying? Because I never forget one time, I was talking to this man, and it was years ago. I had just moved to California, and he said to me, we were talking about Katy Perry's album, Teenage Dream. And he was like, you know what it is about Katy Perry? It's like when she's singing, it's like, you know, she's acting out the song with her voice. Like it's so, you know, like it's so animated and it's so like, and I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I never thought about that, blah, blah, blah. But I went home and I listened to see where he was listening from, what space, what perspective. And I realized that, like, one person could say one thing. The same person could say those same 16 bars. And it's something that everyone wants to say, wants to repeat. Let me tell you this. I don't know if you'll understand how it correlates, but I hope you do. I was in the studio writing Fuck the Club Up, right? And I had already had the first verse. And in the second verse, I'm just like pacing back and forth, like, what should I say? What should I say? Da, da, da. And I'm overthinking it because I'm thinking, like, it gotta be so, like, you know, hard, and I need a bar, and I need this and that. And I need to have this particular voice because it's such a hard beat. And then, jokingly, I said to my friend, like, you know what? It's so crazy. I know, like, back in his days, like, what I would have said on this. You know what I'm saying? And I just being funny, jokingly, not even really thinking that I was about to leave that line there. Jokingly, I was like, yeah, because I don't be really saying raunchy stuff like that, though, you know? And then when the beat hit, I was like, high heels on my, don't, that's on my, cut me vitamins when I ride the dicky. And that line, I said, I stopped myself, critiqued myself, and said, yeah, because I don't be saying, so I wouldn't say that now. I would have said that back then, but I wouldn't say that now. I like, cop me vitamins when I ride the dicky. Number one is pronounced Vetmon, and we know that, right? But we gonna call it vitamins because we ghetto. But, and people think I'm saying cop me vitamins when I ride the dicky. I said, no, I'm talking about vitamins, the clothes. But
yeah, I had no clue what that was. A few people kind of enlightened me in the comment section, but yeah, I had no idea what that was.
When I tapped back into that person, she told me exactly what to do to that. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that everybody's reacting to. It's not a fucking crazy bar.
It's the personality.
Yes, it's the acting. Yes. It's the high heels on, because now you can envision this. And now, not only envision, you want to repeat it. You want to be it. You want to be in the mirror and saying, hi. You want to do a video wearing your heel. That's what we do. Our culture. We influence the world. Everybody wants to be like us. They want to look like us. They want to talk like us. They want to act like us. So what that does, it says, it's a movie. It's like if you're watching a movie and all of a sudden that girl walked on the scene, you would sit up because you just finished hearing "fuck the club up," fuck the club. So you're not expecting no high heels on my high and that's on my titsy. You're not expecting that, and it's different. It's fun. It's
interesting. It's entertaining.
It's authentic too. Yeah. Like it's like, but it also has to be authentic, like to who you are. Everybody has that, but their version of it. Mm. And some people don't need to do that to paint the picture, like what J. Cole just did. He painted the picture, a complete portrait, and really didn't changing functions. Almost was like just a conversation, like just a regular conversation. But you heard and understood every word. And it's painting a picture. It's so vivid.
Do you think people...
I do want to point out, I'm glad that she said that not everybody needs to do that, because I think one of the things that happens in today's world is like, to not stir anything up, let me put it this way. Somebody watches my reactions and they're like, man, I think I could do that. And they're like, oh, like, you know, Z did really well. He just started and he hit 15,000 subscribers in 1 year. I want to do that. So they get on and they try to do reactions the way I do reactions. But the thing is, like, that might not be you. The way I say things, the way I react, the way that sometimes I decide that I'm not going to say things with my mouth, but I'm going to say things with my face. And so, like, I'll interact with the camera instead of actually saying something, so you understand that I just reacted to that. I didn't have to pause it again to say something. And I think it's dope that she said that, because she's trying to say that you don't necessarily have to completely imitate this style. You have to be authentic to you and what your style is and how you would do this thing. I like that. She's a real one.
Vivid.
Do you think people know how much you love other rappers? Do you think you get a bad rap, like you don't like other rappers? Because I mean, I know you like.
I don't know. I have so many rappers that I really, really, really care about as human beings too, outside of rap. And yes, tons of rappers. Well, I'm a fan of rap. That's why I'm a rapper. Right. So yes, I'm a fan of a lot of people, a lot of artists, female rappers, male rappers. And I have actual friendships with some female rappers. And it's so fucked up that, like, because I play that bad guy role, and I love it so much. But I always say, like, when I'm saying stuff, I'm not talking about the girls that I fuck with, and I know that they know that, because they know me. Like, if you know me, you know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so people that feel hit dog, gon' holler, right? Is that the right word?
That's it.
There's so many girls and male rappers that I genuinely care about as human beings and artists. I love the culture. Most of the times when I'm, like, being sarcastic, people think I'm serious. You know? Again, because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know you well enough to know.
But you can't go around explaining every day. So you know what? If they misunderstand, they misunderstand. They'll catch up later. But as long as my fans like the music, that's all I care about.
Nicki, it was a pleasure sitting with you today.
Yes, it was.
To you.
Thank you for giving so much of your time, too.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to expect to see you, like, because when you're outside working, you're outside working.
Yeah.
And we're going to be seeing a lot of you, hopefully. The tour. Are we going to get videos to the album at some point?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Will we get a video to the Forward from Trini? For all the Caribbean massive.
I would love to. I knew you was going to rock with that, too. I know, I know New York going to always get it. Yeah, I would love to.
At multiple points in the album, I forget the song, but you talk about moving to America. I started as, being an immigrant here, starting from the bottom, working your way up. At multiple points in the album, you remind people, like, yo, I got here from zero.
Right.
From zero.
Yes, because I think especially like a lot of new artists, I think they think that one day I just woke up and I was like a rich person that was saying I was I was the queen of rap and just woke up. It's so bizarre.
But people only know what they know and don't do research. You know the world we live in.
Yeah, that's okay.
This is very true.
But little by little, you work and you continue to work, and
that's a great plug for Future's album right there.
Eventually, if they like what you're doing, they'll research it and learn about you and rock with you.
Nicki Minaj, go get that Pink Friday too. Thank you so much, sis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. Love you.
Dope album.
Yes, bravo.
Dope album.
Give it up to this lady, the greatest in the game.
Dope album. Hey man, that was awesome. Thank you to whoever had recommended that I could do this one instead, just because my time limitations today. That was very, very helpful. Listen, that was so great. I mean, the fact that this interview, the way it was conducted, the things they talked about, the things she opened up and shared about, elevated my appreciation for Pink Friday 2 even more than it already was. Just shows how quality that interview was. So thank you so much for recommending that. I'm really glad. And I apologize for everyone that this is kind of like not what we had planned. Joe Budden interview next week, promise. But thank you guys so much for if you're still here. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I'm having a hard time talk right now at the end here. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.